Are you still in doubt over your connection? Is separation driving you crazy? Are you afraid they won't come back and they won't do the work? The thing is, we have to remember, they are your mirror soul. So if you're doing the work, then so are they. And also, we begin to remember the promise that your souls made to find each other again, to do that work and to never give up. When we remember this, we can come into complete surrender. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach. I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse, and I also offer twin flame and spiritual guidance. We concentrate an awful lot on the 3D. This is why we're doing our healing. We keep comparing our twin flame connection to normal relationships, and it doesn't work that way. Now, obviously, this is a part of our healing, so anything that we're going through, we do have to face and heal and purge. But this is not like a normal connection. This is an otherworldly soul connection. And if we're continuing to concentrate on the 3D aspect, we're going to remain in doubt. We're going to remain in fear. We're going to constantly be questioning if they're doing the work and if they'll ever come back. And I've been going through this as well, wondering why separation is going on for so long. Why is there a disconnect? Why are we not together yet? Why haven't we figured this out? And obviously, any separation is there to prepare. Separation is preparation. It's there for you to heal. But if we're continuously concentrating on the 3D aspect, we're never going to get into that proper belief. So what I mean is, like with manifestation, I've said this before, we can create our reality with our mind. And obviously anything that is destined for us is going to happen anyway. But if we're living in doubt, we're going to delay things even further. And, obviously you and your twin are both going, I want this, but can we have this? But is this real? Because we're concentrating on the 3D aspect. We're looking at all the action or lack of action and comparing it to past relationships. We're in fear that we're going to be hurt again. We're in fear to open up again. We're in fear that we're going to lose ourselves again. But that this is separating us from our souls. This is separating us from the true connection that lies between your souls. And it's only in remembering the promise that you made can you truly surrender to that. Because I've said this before, okay, we're concentrating, what do we do? Negative. There's 1,000 positives and 1 negative, and we concentrate on the negative. Always, always, always. So we forget the good things. We forget the otherworldly things. We're spiraling into doubt. We're spiraling into fear. We're like, is this ever going to happen? Are they going to choose me? Am I going to choose myself? Is this healing ever going to end? And we're constantly just going around in our heads. But we forget then how you met, how it felt, how it feels within their presence. That magical side of things, that telepathic connection, those shared dreams. That's not 3D. That's soul based. And when we disconnect from that, we can disconnect from our truth. And one thing I remember lately, there's this meme that I have, and I keep sharing it. I love it. It says, there's a man and a woman kissing in it, but it's like, she says, thank you for finding me. And he goes, you say that every time in every lifetime, even though I promised to find you again and again and again. And that's the thing. You and your twin flame made a promise between your souls to always find each other, to fight for each other, to do the work to be together. That was a promise, a soul promise. And I think when we remember that, we can surrender. Because I was in fear and doubt again. I was going into my spiral again. And I was kind of wanting to reach out. I was wanting to have a go. I wanted to, say my piece again. And I was like, no. Because I've said this before, if you're calling somebody, your twin flame home in anger, in fear, in desperation, they're not going to come back. I said this already. If when you're a child and you break a window or something and you go hide in the bushes for the whole fucking day, you're like, I'm never going home again. I'm going to die if I go home. And then your parent or your grandparent starts screaming at you, get the fuck back here, I'm going to kill you. Like, if we're in the energy, that the child is definitely never going to go home. It's like, I'm running away from home now. So if you're angry with your twin flame energetically, they're not going to come home. You're literally saying, fucking love you, come back here. You know, so you're not creating a safe space. And also what I see as well, you know, if you don't have faith in somebody or yourself, and you're constantly, say for example, if you're being told over and over again that you're a useless piece of shit, which we've all been told through our relationships or you know, in families or whatever, if you're told that over and over again, you're going to continue with that behavior. You know, like, so if you get aggressive with a teenager for taking drugs and tell them they're useless, and they're going to keep taking drugs because they're going to live up to what you see. Expectation creates reality. So if we're sitting there angry with our twin flame, expecting them to ghost, expecting them to be an asshole, expecting them not to take action, they're literally not going to do that, because you're literally sitting in the energy of failure, as in like non-trust, and you're not trusting them and you're not trusting yourself. But if you're in that energy, they're never going to change. So you have to get to that place of surrender and trust, because as I said, like, if you keep projecting this energy of they're never going to choose me, they're never going to step up, they're never going to come back, you're going to constantly get the same behavior. If every correspondence, every contact you have, you're sitting there expecting them not to reply, they're not going to reply. And obviously any lack of communication anyway is to trigger your healing. And you have to get to a place where you don't give a shit whether they reply or not, because you're in your sovereignty anyway. And that's the most important thing. You know, we have to get to the 5D side of things and, like, I suppose, live there and trust in that. Project loving energy towards your twin. Accepting energy. You have to understand as well, they're not deliberately trying to hurt you. They're just trying to do the work that they promised you that they would do. And we're not, if we're not giving them the space to fulfill their promise, there's going to be delays. You know, if you're constantly nagging somebody to do something, they're not going to do it. They're going to have to, like, it's the way I see it, like, you cannot force somebody into doing something when they're not ready. Especially when it comes to a spiritual awakening, you have to let the person or yourself get to the place on your own. Like, you know, you could be black and blue in the face telling somebody to do things one way, or to do it this way, or I have the proof here, you can do it this way. If they're not in a position where they're ready to receive that information, it's going to push them further away. So if we're constantly running after our twin, telling them how it needs to be, telling them what they need to do, that's going to make them revert back into their old ways and remain in that shitty energy. We have to trust in their soul. This is the thing, right? You are your twin flame, and we've all you've been to what am I trying to say? You were in the Matrix. You have awakened out of the Matrix, but you know what it was like to be stuck in the wrong environments, to be stuck around the wrong people, to be stuck in toxic family dynamics. You know how hard it was to make those decisions to change. You know how hard your dark nights of the soul were. You know how hard the spiritual journey was for you, and probably still is. But your twin flame is going through this stuff at an accelerated pace. And if you keep chasing them and running after them and saying, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, they're going to go back into their little box, into their cage. Like, they're making so many hard decisions to transform their life so that they can choose you. Well, not choose you, but choose themselves. You know what I mean? Like, you know what it's like to have to walk away from practically everyone in your physical reality. You know what it's like to have to isolate. You know what it's like to have to make the decision. What if I let all these people go and I have nothing? That's what they're going through now. And if we keep pushing or chasing and getting angry towards them or frustrated towards them, they're going to be in the energy of, I'm a useless piece of shit, so therefore I'm going to continue being a useless piece of shit, because they're going through those self-worth issues as well. Do you know what I mean? And we like you personally, or me personally, we're going through the energy of that unworthiness. That unworthiness wound just keeps coming back up. It's the biggest one we have to heal. But if you're feeling insecure within yourself, why aren't they choosing me? Why aren't you choosing yourself? Why am I not good enough? Will they replace me? Your twin flame is going through that exact same energy. They're questioning are they good enough for you? Because you might be a step or two ahead on your journey, and they're still in the darker aspects of it, the scarier aspects of it. The you know, when you're in that deep darkness and you don't know if there's a way out, and then you're coming up with all these wounds of unworthiness as well, and you're kind of questioning, should I move forward? Can I move forward? What happens if I move forward? Do I lose everything if I move forward? It's a scary time. And we have to show our you know, project some compassion towards our twin flame in that sense. But on a deep soul level, they have the same strength and courage that you have had to get through what you went through. So there's where you need to trust. If you're doing that inner work, if you've done all those scary things and made all those hard decisions, if you have chosen yourself, if you're on your purpose path and your growth journey, your healing path, then you have to trust that they are too. It mightn't look like that on the surface just yet, but this is what we have to remember. Don't trust what's on the surface. Trust what's underneath. What do you feel here? What do you feel in your heart and soul? And that's, I think that's a great place to get to. You know, I was in a very, I suppose, low vibrational unworthiness feeling of kind of energy for a long time. And I think the last week I've completely surrendered into the fact that I have to trust him. Obviously trusting him means trusting me. And that's what I kind of started to remember. Like, I don't remember the exact moment or just yet, because we will remember eventually. But I'm starting to get the remembrance in my soul of that promise that was made between me and my twin flame, between our two souls in our previous lifetimes. Now, we probably met that promise over and over again because we've met many times, and we've not had the capabilities or the opportunity to unite fully. But we made that soul's promise. Our souls really did guarantee each other that we would fight no matter what, that we would do anything and everything we possibly could in order to be together again. And we chose this anyway. So we chose the hard aspects of it. We chose the difficulties. But we promised each other that we would fight it. We would fight everything in our power to be together. And when you remove the 3D aspect for a minute and come back to that remembrance, this is a soul promise. This cannot be broken. This is guaranteed. This is inevitable. And it really is. It brings you to a sense of calmness and peace, the sense of knowing. And you know, like the last week I'm there kind of going, oh, I should reach out. I need to tell him how I feel. I need to, you know, I want to get this stuff off my chest. And I'm like, but if I keep reaching out and trying to force him to do things when he's not in a position to, or he's not ready yet, or, you know, not in his own time, that's going to push him further away. I'm effectively telling him over and over again, I don't trust you and I don't think you're strong enough. That's what we do, effectively, if we're running and chasing after them all the time. We're saying to them, you're not doing the work. You need to do the work. You know, you're saying you're not having faith in them and in their strength and their courage. But if you step back and give them that space, you're actually saying to them on an energetic level, I love you, I trust you, I know you're strong enough, and I know you'll come back when you're ready. I know you're doing the work. And I think we really do have to have that faith in them, because they can feel what we feel. Like, you know, and I've gotten so angry with my twin flame on the 5D. You know, I've said my piece on the 3D, but I've gotten really angry towards him in the 5D, like screaming at him. And, you know, that he can feel that. And, like, if you're feeling that kind of energy from somebody, you're not going to want to go back, like. So I needed to take a breather, reevaluate, and say to myself, well, actually, this is what, as I said, when I started to remember our soul's promise, I was like, you know, I have to trust him. I have to trust this connection. If we're not trusting ourselves, our twin, or divine timing, or the universe, or faith, or magic, it's never going to happen. We're going to keep pushing it further and further away. So we have to get to that place of surrender, that real place of complete surrender. And how do we do this? It's not just by trusting them. It's by trusting ourselves. And it's by doing that inner work. If you're still feeling frustrated, angry, or unworthy of them coming back, that's something that you need to heal and work on. Your inner child is a big one here. So if you work on you, work on your unworthiness wound, work on your divine purpose and your divine mission, and then let the whole rest of it go. Trust in the universe, trust in divine timing, and most importantly, trust in your twin. Their soul is your soul. And they made a promise to you, as you did to them, to fight, to never give up, and to do the work. And all we need to do is have patience for them. And just have a little bit of faith. And that's all it is. So surrender the outcome. Give them the space and time they need to do the work, because you know how hard it is. They're going through an awakening too. And just remember that your souls made this promise. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you'd like help on your journey, please book me for a free discovery call today, and there's nothing more than to help on your path. Also, I'm hosting a free webinar on September the 12th, Friday, 6 p.m. Ireland UK time. I will be speaking on inner child healing, which is a very important part of our journey and helping us to heal that unworthiness wound. If you need any information, just comment below.